Yay, Media Group.
A quick note before we dive into today's podcast. If you like what you hear, I would love for you to subscribe to Fueled Wellness and Nutrition, wherever you download your podcast. It would also be incredible if you take a minute to rate and review this podcast. Those things do matter and they really help us.
I'm Molly Kimball. Welcome to Fueled, a wellness and nutrition podcast. I'm a registered dietitian and nutrition journalist with a passion to help people live their strongest, healthiest life possible. In my weekly TV segments and columns, there's a limited amount of time and space to cover everything, but there's so much more to share. This podcast is my opportunity to dive deeper into the topics you want to know about.
What if we told you there was one single change that consistently has been shown to improve our whole body well-being, our mind, our body, our spiritual well-being over and over and over? We're talking about things like your body composition or your weight, blood pressure, cholesterol, the skin that you want, the brightness there, the vivid energy, all of this. If one single change could improve all of these aspects, our mental clarity, our positivity, if one change could improve this, would you want to try it? I think almost all of us would be like, sign me up. What has taken you so long? And here's the thing. It's not a diet. It's not something trendy. It's not even a quick fix. It's not complicated, but it is possibly one of the biggest changes we could ever make in our lives. And that is changing our relationship with alcohol. To help me drive home this message and to go deeper, sharing about her own personal journey in this space, I am joined by Lauren Haydel for a raw truth episode of Fueled Wellness and Nutrition. Lauren, for those of y'all who aren't familiar, Lauren is founder and CEO of Fleurty Girl. It's a thriving, wildly successful retail brand with 9 storefront locations spanning from Baton Rouge to Bay St. Louis. If you know Lauren, if you follow Fleurty Girl on social, you know the brand and Lauren. They're all about positivity and bringing the fun. They give back. Lauren gives back constantly to the community. On the outside, as you're watching Lauren's brand grow or the Fleurty brand grow over the past 15 years, this is what we see. We see this growth. We see this success. But on the inside and behind the scenes, there's a whole separate space that we weren't seeing. There were struggles that were getting harder and harder to deal with. And I'm so grateful that Lauren is open to sitting down with us, sharing these experiences, her thoughts, her feelings, and really just what clicked to be the beginning of the journey to pull herself out of that spiral. Lauren is so much fun to talk with. She interestingly adds like an entire layer of humor and fun also as we go through. I mean, it can be a really hard conversation. It can be really hard things to think through, to process, hard questions to ask ourselves. And so trust me, believe me when I say that as you listen to this conversation, she's touching on all these things. She's not shying away from any of this, yet she does it with such a spirit of love and not getting so bogged down in the past and the what ifs, but really saying, what do we need to do right now to look forward to live our best lives? One of her very first, like dipping her toe into not drinking was an experience that she had. She felt like what it felt like to not drink for 40 days. She loved the feeling. It wasn't something she was able to stick with. So she'll talk with some of the tries and some of the failures along the way. But that first dipping her toe into it was alcohol free for 40, the challenge that we host every year with our Oshner Eat Fit team. And several years back, she did it. And we'll kind of talk all through that. And she experienced what we see year over year over year. And I want to share this with you now because this is coming up right after Mardi Gras. So this will be starting the first week of March. I want to plant that seed. So as you're listening to this, as you're listening to Lauren's story, and you're thinking about, okay, it's the new year, like what am I going to be doing? But it might be dry January, which of course is like, we're right on the heels, right at the beginning of dry January as we're recording this episode. We're right at the beginning of dry January as this episode is dropping. But alcohol free for 40 is something we do every year. It starts right after Mardi Gras, which this year is going to be early March. And we have between like 500 and 700 people on average that come through every year for in-person labs and measurements. And so Lauren did this several years back. Year after year, it continues to just blow our minds, the improvements that people see. So we're seeing just really significant improvements in blood pressure, their weight, their body fat, liver enzymes, even their cholesterol levels. There's so much that we can measure that we see, and then there's all kinds of stuff that we can't measure. They're sleeping better. Their anxiety levels are improving. Their faces start to look different. They're less puffy. They see the clarity in their eyes better. There's so much there that we can't measure, but is consistently positive feedback on this. And so I want to plant the seed. If you got dry January coming up, you may do both. You may choose dry January and then alcohol free for 40. Alcohol free for 40, I really love it because we get this data. You get that before, the after, your labs, your physical metrics, your close-up photo of your face. And then at the end of the 40 days, you get it all over again. So tuck that away as you're listening to this episode with Lauren. And with that, let's get started. So welcome, Lauren. Thank you so much for being open to being here with us, sharing your experience with us.
Thanks for having me. I love getting to talk about sobriety.
It's probably something that in all of the years and all the experiences you've had, this was never something that you thought we would be having this conversation a couple years ago.
I thought we'd be getting together and drinking cocktails together, not doing this. Isn't it funny how things can shift?
As this podcast airs, it's been right at just shy of 18 months.
I can't believe it.
That you've been alcohol free. The journey along the way, it wasn't easy though. Yeah, I think a lot of times on the outside, things look one way, but it wasn't seamless. It wasn't smooth sailing.
No, I mean, I knew that I was dependent on alcohol. I needed it to turn the volume down on my business. And I did every evening. That's how I came off of my work day. But I didn't see it as that big of a problem. It's so normalized that I just thought that's what people do after work, right? Come home and drink.
It's normalized, I think, in our culture, period. And it's normalized, especially in New Orleans. We have like a higher level of like grace that we give for like really excessive drinking.
We do. And that's, it's really not good. We need to kind of really talk about how we do that. And also there is an amazing sober community here in New Orleans. That blew my mind too.
The position that you have with work, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, but your role with your career, you have such a high visibility. And so as a dietitian and in the work that we do with Alcohol Free for 40 and the personal choices that I've made in this space also to not drink, I'm just really grateful that you're so open about it and so conversational about it, because it is a space that people can feel uncomfortable. They can feel almost embarrassed. I've had so many people tell me, like almost in secrecy, that they don't drink anymore.
Right. I don't know why it's like that, but I just felt like as soon as the things started happening for me in sobriety, I wanted to tell everybody, but I made sure to just keep it all to myself for the first about 12 weeks. So about 3 months in is when I finally exposed sobriety for myself. And it was really just because I was just making sure I could do this. I am very visible, and that's another reason why I feel like I need to do this. We need to talk about this. I wish I had someone talking to me about this. So I feel like I have a platform. I need to share this. I make sure to tell everybody my DMs are open. Reach out anytime if you need to talk, if you want to find a place to go. And they do that. I mean, I would say I probably get about one a week of somebody saying, hey, I think I have a problem. You said I could contact you. And I mean, I will pull over on the side of the road, stop what I'm doing. That is the most important thing that I can do, is to help someone get sober.
It's life-changing.
It's
truly life-changing.
And I'm so glad that I'm visible in that regard, because they can see and hear the difference and maybe say, oh my gosh, I was drinking like that. It's not what I thought alcoholism was. I didn't think I was an alcoholic, but looking back, I was drinking way too much. I can't have just one. I am an alcoholic. And that was a huge eye opener for me.
The level of control that it had over you versus the other way around.
Yes.
feeling that, that spiral and not being able to stop it. Let's start with, how we got here. I know when we talk about Lauren's visibility, I know that a lot of y'all are listeners regionally, but also well beyond, are familiar with the Fleurty Girl brand. And I think the story of the growth of the Fleurty Girl brand, I love. So I want to hear some about that. And I think on the outside, how many stores do you have now?
9.
9. And they span New Orleans,
Baton Rouge to Bay St. Louis.
Baton Rouge to Bay St. Louis.
We're 2 states. It's crazy.
9 stores. How many employees?
We tether between 70 and 90.
Right.
Depends on the season, which is a lot of people. And with that comes enormous pressure.
And
enormous
if you
pressure.
Meet Lauren, you don't sense that.
No.
And if you follow Fleurty Girl on social, you don't sense that. It's so much fun. It's so much positivity. If you don't follow Fleurty Girl on social, start. And I think this is one of those things that on the outside, the growth of Fleurty Girl has seemed seamless. It seemed effortless. And as I'm thinking through that, because everyone's kind of on the outside watching, and how you had the growth and the passion and the focus that you put into the growth of Fleurty Girl, to me, is very similar to your experience with how you overcame alcohol addiction.
Yes, you don't really go there, right? You just kind of see it happening. You saw me come after 3 months or after a year just saying, I decided to stop drinking. But oh my goodness, there was so much along the way. Just like with Fleurty Girl,
Right.
The sleepless nights, the stress, the night sweats, all those things. It's again, we don't talk about that part, right? We don't want each other to see that part, but we really should, because it's the reality.
And it's the reality is that it's the result of like your hard work, your dedication, your focus, your relentless focus on both of those things, to building the brand and then also to rebuilding yourself and your core. So if you don't mind, let's talk a bit about, and we're going to go, y'all, for our listeners, we're going to go really deep in with Lauren on her transformation and her journey with alcohol and making these changes. I also think your story of how you started the brand Fleurty Girl is incredibly inspiring. So I want to spend just, if you don't mind, a little bit of time about that. I know bits and pieces of it, and I know that there's a lot more that I don't know. So tell us how it got started.
So in 2009, I was living in Baton Rouge, 3 kids, single mom, living paycheck to paycheck, and just struggling to make ends meet. I was a month or 2 months behind on my house note. I mean, I was not getting ahead.
How old were your kids?
My kids were in 2009, 7 and, no, that's not right. I'm terrible at math, which is why I sell t-shirts. So yeah, 6 and 3 twins that were 3. So having twins, you go from 1 child to 3, and childcare costs were just enormous. I mean, I literally went to work every day just to pay for childcare and barely had any left over.
What kind of work were you doing then?
I worked for the Louisiana Farm Bureau. We had a TV show, and so I worked for that show, and it was a wonderful job, but it was just so hard to make ends meet. And I just remember thinking, like, I gotta have, like, I couldn't, let's just put it to you honestly. Like, I just felt like this couldn't be it. Like, life wasn't supposed to be like this.
A grind.
Yeah, it was a constant grind. And so I decided to print a bunch of t-shirts. I was expecting my income tax refund check, and it was going to be around $2,000. So I decided that I was going to print a bunch of t-shirts instead of paying my house note. Like, that was my opportunity to kind of get caught up. It's really crazy. Like, now that I'm 43 and I look back at being 28, like, I don't know that I could take that risk right now. And it's funny because my mom said I was crazy.
Of course, right?
It's just like, I can't believe you want to start a t-shirt company. Like, you need to get caught up on your bills. Like, that's really the responsible thing to do. But I just thought, I got to go for this. And, looking back, it's just a mom worried about her child. And it's funny. It's funny. She works for me now. Yeah. She's in the office right now as we're doing this podcast.
Oh,
so I took a chance, and,
how many shirts were you able to print for $2,000?
I think it was 3 designs, but I released them on Facebook for pre-order, and I needed to print more than $2,000 worth. So, I mean, it was just like, we just blew up.
Everything was sunk into this.
Every single thing. So all those shirts sold out. And then the Saints had a really, really good season in 2009 and won the Super Bowl. I mean, it was just a whirlwind. It happened so fast. So I got a cease and desist letter from the NFL over the fan phrase, "Who dat?" And I tell you, it was the scariest thing, but it blew up overnight. And all of a sudden, like Fleurty Girl became a household name in New Orleans. And since we were heading to the Super Bowl, it made national news. Good Morning America, ESPN, USA Today. I mean, I was on all of those. And I had to quit my job.
Because you're also this small single mom store and the NFL is like coming in. I mean, everyone's going to be like,
everyone
interested and really, I'm sure, taking your side on this.
Oh, yeah. And it backfired for the NFL in the sense that Saints fans, as they're heading to the Super Bowl, only wanted a Fleurty Girl shirt. Like every Saints fan was like, I don't want anything by the NFL. You know, let's support the local girl. I mean, it was crazy. So I had to quit my full-time job. And they came and took my company car, my company phone, no health insurance. Like I literally had nothing. And I had this business that was just blowing up that was literally in my house. So people were like lined up around the block.
Were you in New Orleans at this time?
I was in New Orleans by that time. I had found a place on Craigslist to rent where I could turn the front into a shop. It's a really crazy story.
So you're renting this house. The front is your shop. You're living in the back. Do you remember what the first 3 t-shirt designs were?
They were French Quarter, Pontchartrain, and Don't Eat the Straight Ones. And when I look at them, they were horrible. Absolutely horrible. I can't believe anybody even bought it. But at the time, 15 years ago, there wasn't really t-shirts for women.
They were kind of like kitschy like that.
They were kitschy. They were feminine. They were female cut. They were pastel colors. They were softer, you know, look and feel than what was currently out there. And so we did something that hadn't been done before. And I knew that that's what the marketplace needed. Like I knew Fleurty Girl was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be like the next big thing. Like I truly believed in it, but it just blew up so fast. Like even the first 10 years was just like, I mean, I opened a store, then 6 months later, opened another store. I mean, we're talking like 9 stores in like 10 years, which is really crazy. And that was a lot to handle for one person.
It's a lot to handle. I'm going back to the shirts for 1 second because it's sticking about. Do you still have one of each?
I do. Because they're folded in my closet.
You know how like if you go into like, I don't know, like the Southern Food and Beverage Museum and they have things like in like shadow boxes, you need to have those
probably
shirts
do
somewhere.
It's really crazy that those 3 shirts started all of it. And the first Saint shirt that we did that we got the cease and desist over was, it just said hashtag Who Dat. Like it wasn't a saying. It just said Who Dat with a hashtag.
That's
and
so cool,
it was the shirt that everybody wanted when the Saints were heading to the Super Bowl. So you just never know. You never know if your idea is going to blow up.
And your strength and your spirit through that. And the, like I said, that relentless focus. I think as we're talking, I have a hunch that a lot of the growth and the successes that you had, the pressures, yes, but even the successes probably started to contribute to the issues that you had with alcohol.
100%. It was so much. It was scary. It was more than I ever had handled ever. And I'm very ambitious. I'm an overachiever. I love what I do. And it was just like, all of a sudden you've got 9 stores and 90 employees, and every day you're dealing with all of that. And it just becomes a lot. And I definitely turn to alcohol in the evenings to cope with the exponential growth of my business.
On the outside, everything seems like it's just this wild success. There, you know, people are seeing it. They see you. Like we said earlier, you've got this visibility, you've got this positivity. What was really happening though? So you're getting home, you're probably as much of an extrovert that you seem to be. I would imagine there's part of you that was wearing you out.
It's so tiresome. People feel connected to me through the brand, and I love that. That's what I always wanted. I want to be approachable, but it's a lot on you. You know, so when I do get home, it's like you put your purse down, you know, pour a drink and you just breathe.
Right.
You just let it out and relax. And it's a lot of stress, you know, to operate this business is hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, you know, payroll and rents and all those kinds of things are numbers I never ever worked with before. So all of a sudden your financial obligations are exponential, you know,
people who are depending on you.
Yeah. And so you go from being like, wow, I'm a month behind on my house note. I've got, you know, $2,000 that's coming from my tax refund check to, you know, we've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in operating expenses in a month. Like it's crazy to go from like small potatoes to, oh my gosh, this is huge. So just managing all of that. And I do manage all of that well. I have a really good team. but it's just so much. Sometimes
So-
I even stress my mom out.
Then coming home and alcohol is the turning down the noise. It's the numbing out. It's the, so many times we hear people, I'm so stressed. I'm going to have that glass of wine to relax. And one of the things that I think is so a foreign concept to people is that alcohol, while in the moment it makes us feel more relaxed and it helps us feel as if we're unwinding, what it's actually doing is heightening our body's stress response. It's
Yes.
oversensitizing our body's stress response. And so while right in the moment, you kind of have that sensation, the next day, our perception of stress is even higher than it would have been had we not drank.
Yes.
And we set ourselves on this
backfires.
cycle so much.
It backfires. And also, I wouldn't remember some of the things that I did the night before. And I'm just, I didn't really go out very much, but just being at home and drinking and, answering an email or a text.
Committing to things.
Did you do that? Like I committed to things the night before and then we'll wake up the next morning and be like, oh my God, why did I commit to that? Why? And it would be costly, things that I would have never committed to if I hadn't been drinking. And so like just waking up and not even wanting to check my phone. Or you might have done this too. Woken up the next morning and been like, I don't even remember posting that on Facebook. That's like a real thing.
You also said conversations with your daughter.
Yes. So that was probably towards the end. My daughter, it was her senior year and she had come downstairs and talked to me about something. And the next day I asked her something. She's like, Mom, we had a whole conversation about this last night. Like, you don't remember? And I didn't tell her this, but I didn't remember any of that conversation. So that was like a seed in my brain where it's just like, this is not okay. Like I drank too much tonight. I'm not going to drink that much. Like I was struggling with memory. I was thinking that maybe I was having, premature memory loss.
Issues, medical issues.
Not really thinking it's related to alcohol. So it just kept getting more and more. And I just kept seeing more things where it's just like, whoa, like I can't believe I sent that text. I can't believe I posted that on Facebook. I can't believe I don't remember that conversation. Like all these things start happening.
It sounds like it didn't hit all at once. It sounds like it was a slow escalation through the years.
Mm-hmm.
And one that you probably tried to dismiss for a while until more and more of these types of situations happened and you couldn't deny it anymore.
No, we had gone to a wedding shower and I had, 7 or 8 cosmopolitans that night and just behaved in a not Lauren way. I remember waking up that next morning. It was July 15th, 2023. I woke up that morning and I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I felt horrible for the way I had behaved the night before. It took me 6 months to look at the pictures from that night. I couldn't even look at the photos. Normally I attend parties, events, whatever, and I take lots of pictures and I post them all over Facebook. Like I document everything. I couldn't even look at them. I was so ashamed. And so I decided that day I had just had enough and I was done feeling like this. And I'm so fortunate that I decided and I meant it and I stuck with it because so many people wake up that way and they don't. They pick up a drink again. I have not had a drink since I woke up that day. I was just completely done.
You and I have talked about this before, and the words that you said I thought were like just so, I wrote them down. You said, I didn't want to live in regret.
Yes.
And I just think that that's so powerful because you used the word shame a bit ago, living in regret. Like I can't even think about how many people are continuing to feel this way right now. And I think it's incredibly impressive that that switch was flipped and that it's continued to remain as it is. You also told me, that you sort of had like this self-talk. How bad do you want it?
It's so crazy you saying that to me because I know I haven't thought about those things in a while because I'm living in this new life now. Like you telling me what I told you a year ago is really crazy because it's like, yeah, I needed to be reminded of that. Life is so much better now. I don't have to do that self-talk anymore. I'm living in another dimension now.
You said, how bad do you want it? Talking to yourself. And then your answer to yourself was, I want it with every fiber of my being.
Oh my, I'm going to cry. I did say that. I haven't thought about this. This is like Lauren from a year ago talking to herself now. I felt that bad.
You started out with, okay, today I'm not going to drink.
Yes.
And then that one day turned into 2, then a week, then a month. And we hear that over and over. For myself, that also was the approach, because if we say, I'm not ever going to drink again,
Mhm.
who wants to have an all or nothing of anything, really?
Yeah.
You know? And for me, once I made that decision, the feelings were, the way that I felt was so much better. The way that I felt emotionally, the way that I felt that I was handling pressures and stressful situations. I don't consider myself an anxious person at all. Yet I was having those types of responses that I was like, what is happening here?
Yes.
And arguments that were pointless, or like you said, like fuzzy memories of conversations with very important people in our lives. And I thought, I don't want this. And so it was, for me, the test phase of our first Alcohol Free for 40, like back in 2015. We started Alcohol Free for 40 in 2016. And in December, I had pitched it to my editors, and I thought, well, let me at least do this myself, because if I'm going to be asking the community to do it, let me try it. And I wasn't sure I could get through that first week. So I asked my doctor to do all the labs that we were going to be asking the community to do. And then I said, can we do them in 1 week? Because I wanted to see, is there change in a week? Because I thought, if I don't know if I can do it for 40 days, maybe that 1 week will give me the inspiration needed. And he said, you're not going to see any change in a week. In fact, I don't think you're going to see any change in any of these people in 40 days. Like, he was just poo-pooing it. And I said, please just humor me. And so my labs came back, and it had just been a normal weekend, like a December holiday weekend in New Orleans. I did my labs on a Monday. Everything was sky high. The inflammatory markers were like 3 times the upper limits, liver enzymes, everything was like really high. And it was alarming. So for the next 7 days, we had parties. We had all types of things. We had a party here at our house that was like one of those annual holiday parties we have here every year. I say someone falls off the porch. You know, it's that kind of a party. Like, they're here till 3 in the
I can't
morning.
believe you did that early in sobriety.
We had that party, but I knew I had those labs coming in 7 days. So I didn't want to have even a beer. I wanted to have nothing for 7 days. And so that, I'm glad that I had scheduled it that way, because knowing I had that in 7 days made that window very short, that I was able to say, I'm going to do it today, like you said, today, and then tomorrow, and that turns into a week. Okay, 7 days. I'm going to get those labs. The next day, those results came back, and everything was at the low end of the normal limits.
In 7 days.
In 7
Wow.
days. My doctor said, how much were you drinking? I said, well, it's New Orleans and it's holidays. And then in 40 days, well, everything really was at the normal range then. That physician now has since moved on, and he's in a different region now, but he says when he speaks to different physician groups and such, he tells them about Alcohol Free for 40.
Wow.
And he says it, he tells them, everybody says, I think I'm always right all the time. He's like, there was this one time. You know?
Go Molly. I love this.
So for me, that became okay. That I saw those numbers, and then I saw in that week, wow, how did I handle a situation so differently than I had been, and so much more just productively, or didn't have the anxiety sneaking in that was like, where is this coming from? But in the same fashion as you, I didn't say never, and I didn't even point it out to my husband. I just, he knew that I was trying, like, kind of going to make this effort to dial it back, but I hadn't told him that it was these distinct days and times. And then Christmas came, we went on vacation, and I knew that when we got back from that vacation, it would be a month. And then, make it 2 months. And then it was at the 3-month mark, kind of like you said, it was like 3-month mark. I said, hey, and I told Brad, I was like, it's been actually 3 months since I drank anything. He's like, really?
He didn't notice?
He had noticed that I hadn't drank, but he didn't know that I knew the exact days, and that it had been such a focused thing,
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I've sort of, I think, in a little bit different space than you, by being a dietitian and by having Alcohol Free for 40, and then the work that we do with Eat Fit, it's something that I talk about, but I haven't made it such an open part as you have. In part, I kind of have that fear of, well, I don't want to go see, Molly's team of dietitians. They're just going to tell me I can't drink. I don't want to have the alignment of, if you want to achieve your level of personal wellness in whatever way it is, whether it's with our Eat Fit team, our lifestyle nutrition consult dietitians, I don't want that to be aligned as part of like, it's got to be this.
Yes.
So I've sort of, let Alcohol Free for 40 and stuff do the work there. And that's why I'm really excited to see you take this platform like this.
I had the same struggle. It's interesting that you say that, because again, my brand of Fleurty Girl is very much about New Orleans and the things that New Orleans celebrates. And New Orleans celebrates everything with alcohol. 2-year-old birthday parties, there's alcohol. So
Baby showers.
Exactly. So I didn't want people to think because I was sober that we weren't going to have the fun stuff that's, that talks about alcoholism. Like we have, we sell cocktail glasses, we sell cocktail book recipes. Like those things are still there. We have dish towels and funny things that talk about needing a drink, or you use a wine stopper. That's adorable. Like those things are still at Fleurty Girl. Like just because I don't drink doesn't mean I expect other people to be the same, and doesn't mean that I'm going to stop carrying items like that.
Right.
Now I have added a mocktail recipe book. So we do things like in December, we showed a reel with a different mocktail and then an alcohol-free version and one without alcohol. So we're kind of showing people both now. So we didn't take that out. Just like you're saying, we're not going to tell you not to drink. That's your own personal choice, and it has to be. You can't do it for anybody but yourself. But yeah, I had the same fear about my brand.
You also said that a few things that you said just really, really resonated with me. One is how much time you got back. And when we talk about the brand, the Fleurty Girl brand, it takes a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And what you probably thought before was, I'm still working at night. I'm just having some drinks while I'm working. Mm-hmm. But then we just, we talked about that. That's not, an efficient use of time. And then what you lose the next day by feeling so rotten.
You borrow from tomorrow. Are you about to tell me that? Did I tell you that? It's so weird you telling me what I told you a year ago. You borrow from tomorrow. That's what we were doing. So about time. So I got sober July 15th, 2023. I decided to go back to school in August 2023. So that just a month later, because I had time. I had time to finish my college degree for the first time in 25 years. So in December, I finally got my college degree with that time. So finally graduated from college. Thank you, sobriety. Isn't that huge?
But it wasn't just that you went back to college. You commuted to Baton Rouge.
Drive home at night when I would normally be intoxicated at home on the couch.
All of the factors that had to fall into place for you to be able to go back, finish that degree, put the time in, the study in, the time simply even getting to class, all of that. I don't want to use the word impossible, but it would have been nearly impossible before.
It would have been totally impossible. Basically, I used my time drinking to go back to college and get a degree.
Right.
And it is like, gosh, what a trade, right? So now that I've finished college, I want to become fluent in Spanish. So there's a school in on St. Claude. So I'm going to go one night a week and become fluent in Spanish. So it's like, I have all this time left, and how can I max out life? That's what I'm doing now. I'm finding ways to fill that time. You get life back. Like
so much
life. And like, I feel like we also have to talk about the downside of that, like the reality of that. Like, you have time to think, you have clarity, you feel things more, the good, but also the bad. So you have to relearn living, because alcohol is no longer an option for coping. So for me, it was, okay, I'm going to fill this time and stay busy. So, I mean, it's been beautiful, all of it. And just stopping drinking is just the teeny tiny tip of the iceberg. But there's all these other gifts that come after. And it's just been the most transformative 18 months of my entire life. And I cannot believe it's from eliminating one thing from my life.
That's an everyday accepted thing.
Yes.
You had not gone really, the only little window of time that you had experienced sobriety had been several years back with the Alcohol Free for 40 challenge.
Yep.
That had been the first time, I think you said, that you had gone that long, 40 days without alcohol in over a decade.
Mm-hmm. I didn't
Probably
think I could
a week.
Yeah. I didn't think I could do it. You know why I did it? To prove to myself that I didn't have an alcohol problem. Isn't that so silly? Like, okay, if I can do this, then I'm not an alcoholic. I thought about drinking every day. And finally, I was counting down the days until I could drink again. Like, it's just so crazy how we just become dependent on this. But I did it. I stuck with it. I felt great. And I went right back to it.
When you went back to it, did parts of you think back to how much better you had felt during those 6 weeks?
Yes. And
it kind of gave you that taste of it.
It did, but I wasn't going to give it up. No way. So I remember being nervous to get that first drink again. Did you feel like that when you did it before?
I didn't. I didn't go back.
Oh, you didn't go back. So I did the alcohol free for 40. And I remember being like, I don't even know how much I can drink. I haven't drank in 40 days. I don't know what one drink is going to do to me. So the first couple days were rocky, but when I tell you, it came right back. The dependency came right back, that I look back and was like, man, I was on such a good roll. Why did I turn back to it?
You said it had a grip on you, like a greater grip than ever before.
At the end, yeah.
The alcohol free for 40 participants, now it's this year coming up, so we're our 10th year doing it.
Wow.
And we have in person between 500 and 700 people that come through for the testing, the before and after testing. And we have, our Mindful Monday virtual huddles with everyone and, trying to help them kind of keep their head in the right place through it and answer questions and kind of be that resource for them. And so many people have the experience you shared. We see kind of three ways it goes through. There's people who they do it one time. They don't come into alcohol free for 40 with the intent of never drinking again. But after that 40 days, they say, I don't want to go back, which was sort of like me after that first week. I was like, why? Why would I do this? And there's every year people who let us know that this changed their life. It saved their marriage. It saved their job. They aren't going back. Sometimes we don't hear from them until the next year of the next alcohol free for 40. And they reach out like, hey, this is my anniversary. I haven't drank since last year, or 7 years since the 7 years. I mean, it's just so neat. It's for us, it's of course a lot to pull off the whole event. And like one story like that is just like when people are messaging you, it's like, that's all we need.
Yes.
There's the other group of people who have the experience like what you did. And they feel such a sense of failure. And I'm really, really proud of those that come back year after year, because sometimes they don't finish the 40 days. They last half the time or whatever it is. And when they come back year over year, if they stick it out even longer than they did before, they're seeing this as a success and they're open about it. And it's so just touching to see how raw they are, how hard this challenge can be. And then there's several of those who now have made it through the 40 days. There's some who say, I'm not going back, but it might have taken them 5-6 tries. And so I think that's really important for people hearing you, is that switch flipped, but it didn't flip immediately.
No.
And it's okay if you fall.
Yeah. I just, I had no choice. I felt like I had no choice. There was just no way. I needed alcohol to cope with everything that was going on. Like literally got the shakes if I didn't have a drink by 6 o'clock. We didn't eat at restaurants if they didn't serve alcohol. So now I've been to all these restaurants I've never been to before because they don't serve alcohol. Because we would never eat at a place that didn't have alcohol with dinner. Like, are you kidding? Like,
we can't even bring our own. Like, what?
Yeah. It's crazy just how we lived.
Even sometimes placing that first order for a drink that isn't alcohol the first time you do it. I remember like sitting at our favorite restaurant that normally, we would get a glass of wine. And when I asked for like a sparkling water, I had to push those words out of my mouth.
Yes.
It felt bizarre.
It felt like I was denying myself what I deserve and what I need. And it was just like, womp, womp, So what I would do is I would just order tonic with lemon, because that was my drink, was vodka tonic. And so I would just order just tonic, and that would make me feel like I was getting something. Now it's been a year and a half. I order iced tea and like, I want to make sure they give me a lemon. It's like, I love my iced tea. I don't need alcohol. And that's the crazy part too, is I remember when I stopped drinking, but I don't remember when the cravings stopped. They just stopped. It wasn't right away. I want to say maybe 3 months. I don't even know, but it's miraculous. Like all of a sudden, I didn't think about it all the time. I didn't need it to cope. Because in the beginning, you are going through a withdrawal. Like your brain is like, man, it would just be so easy to just order a cocktail right now.
It goes back to that cycle that we said, we feel relaxed, but we're actually heightening that stress response. And we've put ourselves on this wheel. And there's so much that is just a cyclical nature of those cravings. And so just like you said, 6 weeks and then plus, our bodies start to really come down from those cravings and it starts to shift. What are some of the things that you did to replace the behaviors? And alcohol free for 40, we talk a lot about replacement behaviors because, for a lot of people, it's not enough to just simply white knuckle it. Or if they say, I'm just going to drink a bottle of water, like that's not enough. Like, what are we going to do instead? So what are the things that you shifted that were the other outlets for stress release for you?
Well, I like to walk in the evenings. And I love to look up at the sky and see the beautiful sunset. I mean, just I have time to do those things. I come home now and I make a LaCroix with a little bit of fresh lemonade or a fresh juice or something. And I still put it in a cocktail glass, like a stemless wine glass. I still treat myself like I'm coming home. And now the other day I came home and we were out of LaCroix and I felt like I felt when we were out of vodka. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm having LaCroix withdrawals because I wasn't having alcohol withdrawals. It was just like, I wanted to unwind and have my LaCroix. And I'm like, Lauren, look at you
Right.
having withdrawals.
A little pissed off that we don't have
LaCroix. And that for me was huge because it was like, this is something that I have replaced it with something else that's not putting poison in my body.
So movement was a big replacer for you that sort of gave you that endorphin. It's helping with that transition at the end of the day. The way that I kind of visualize it, it's like at the end of the day, we have so much that's been piled on. And it's like our stress levels are high, like our brains are just swirling. It's just like we're trying to process it. And it's just this big, it's a wheel and we're just like spinning on it. And alcohol slows that down, but only temporarily. So movement, even as simple as walking, y'all, that movement is helping us achieve that similar feel. And it's so hard to say like, oh, don't have a cocktail, go for a walk. It's like saying like, don't eat that like rich dessert, eat an apple. It kind of feels the same, but it truly does. And so we encourage people, find what that movement is. That friend that you usually go meet for cocktails, meet them for a walk.
Or meet them for coffee.
Right.
But at first it does feel like let's be real. This sucks. This isn't as much fun as going to have a cocktail. But now it is. Now it gives me what I felt like I was missing when I didn't have alcohol. It wasn't instantaneous. You had to train yourself. You had to do those replacements. Move a muscle
ahead.
Yes. Move a muscle, change a thought. That's always one of those things that I love because when I'm feeling down or if I'm thinking about drinking, which I really don't anymore like I used to in the beginning, I would go for a walk. I would put my AirPods in and just turn on some music or something, move a muscle, change a thought, pick up the phone, call somebody, be like, I'm thinking about drinking. So, I mean, in the beginning, you do really have to rely on those things and they just don't replace it like you remember alcohol doing for you, but just one day at a time, do those things. And it's amazing how all those days add up. And it's amazing that one day you wake up and you're like, I don't crave it anymore. But just, you got to do the work on the front end of just starting to not rely on it for your daily detox.
When you do have that urge, especially in the beginning, I call it kind of the witching hours. It's that transition time a lot of times for people. You're go all day. It's when you get home. It's when someone's getting the mail. They're sorting through that. Or it's after everybody else goes to bed and that's like your first quiet moment of the day. It's these transition times that are often these trigger windows of times for people. A lot of people say that if they just kind of like give it a little bit of time, like waiting it out, but doing that with or that replacement behavior, factoring that in, and in 30 minutes or so, that feeling passes. And so they may feel it so strongly, they go for a walk, it brings it down. They start getting involved in something. Let me go through some of those old photos that I never took the time to do, those types of things. And within that half hour, sometimes that really heightened urge starts to dissipate.
It's amazing how it really, really does that. And so for me, those kinds of things have really helped me stay on course.
If you feel that starting to happen, know that it'll pass. Because as this podcast is airing, we've got Dry January starting. We've got Alcohol Free for 40 starting later this year, right after Mardi Gras. So in March. So Dry January, if you're doing it now, I hope that this is incredibly helpful for y'all. If you're thinking about continue rolling and you want to do it with Alcohol Free for 40, we actually have it open for people to sign up now for the March Alcohol Free for 40. So we'll have the link for that. And then I think thinking of all these things speaking of Alcohol Free for 40, I actually thought you had done it this past year, the 2024 Lent season.
No, I was in the group. I infiltrated.
You infiltrated. So we have a Facebook group, a support group, and I kept seeing comments from you, from Lauren in there. And I thought, oh, wow, I didn't see her at the labs and check in. I was like, I must have missed her. That's cool. She's doing it. And then when you and I talked, you said, no, but that was your first sober time. You at that point were like 8 months in, 9 months in.
And I was an infiltrator in the group as a sober person who
with
lived
so
a
much
sober,
positivity.
so much positivity and so many answers to some of the
Yes.
questions that you were getting in the group, which is so important for people who are like, all right, I have a wedding to go to this weekend. What do I do? And it's like, well, that you can actually go to Martin's and get Lyre's champagne, which is de-alcoholized champagne. It tastes just like it. Like there are alternatives.
Right.
So I love talking sobriety.
Yes.
Like I used to be like, I want to talk about Fleurty Girl all the time.
Right.
Now I want to talk about sobriety
Right.
all the time. So I loved being in that group because I had so much fun answering the questions because I've lived it. I've lived it for now 18 months, but back then like 8 months. And it was just, it's refreshing to hear those questions that are the same exact ones that I felt in the beginning of my journey. So yeah, I jumped in. I wasn't doing the program, but I felt like a contributor and, I could help them.
Right. Well, this year, if you want to jump in again.
Okay, good. Okay.
we welcome you with open arms. So day to day now, keeping your head in the game, it's something that has become more automated for you. It sounds like it's not something that is a conscious choice you're having to make every day now. This is the life that you've chosen. It's the life that you see so much reward and benefit from. What advice or guidance to someone who is considering dry January or alcohol free for 40, or they're considering giving up alcohol entirely? What are some of the things that have really worked for you that have helped you keep your head in the game?
I need a program. I need to talk to other alcoholics and talk about sobriety and recovery. So I do a 12-step program and I love it. I know it's not for everybody, but for me, I have found a place for me to really expound on my journey and spirituality and all the things. And I need that. And the community in New Orleans is just beyond my wildest dreams. It's so good. And it's so quiet. It's so under the surface, So
you go to in-person meetings.
I do. I go to in-person meetings. I have a sponsor that I work with closely, and I needed that. And I really attribute my ability to stick with it to having that wisdom. When you're talking to somebody with years and years and years of sobriety, I mean, I saw somebody with 52 years. How amazing is that? Like that's for a person that's living life on the best level possible for 52 years. This is the greatest gift you could ever give yourself. Think about that. It really, really is. And people just don't know. We don't talk about it. Instead of saying, why don't you drink? Why do you drink? It's really kind of crazy. The questions people ask, oh, you don't drink? Like I have to explain to them why I'm not putting poison in my body. Like it's just absolutely
What's your answer
crazy.
when someone asks you? That's sometimes people struggle with a lot.
Yeah. I don't know what I would say. I would say that it's just something I decided to do for myself. Sometimes if I'm comfortable, I'll just tell them, I was just doing it too much. And I will tell them I was having 5 to 6 drinks a night. And this is someone who may be having 5 to 6 drinks a night and doesn't think that's a problem. But the conversation is always good. I'm open to talking about it.
I find that addressing it as like right now, no, I'm good. Like, or no, I'm not going to have anything, or, I'm not going to have a drink here, versus the all or nothing, I don't drink. That statement for some people can be their comfortable answer, but right there in a social setting, sometimes I feel oh no, I'm good. And just, it doesn't have to be about it, because giving that big, bold statement can sometimes open the door for more questions and pressing it. And do we want that at that moment?
Right. One of my favorite responses to that question is, I went pro and retired early. I love that one.
Perfect.
Because that kind of sums it up, like I just hit it a little too hard and just can't anymore. So
you've taken such note of things around you that you used to never pay attention to. You're telling me like a butterfly, like who even watched these butterflies before? Were they always this many? It's like these things that we see and these experiences that we have. Also, when we're putting ourselves out there, and not everyone's going to choose to go for a walk as they're kind of getting their head in the right place, but that's something that I love also. And simply by doing that, we're putting ourselves, we're getting that movement going and all the benefits we get physically from that movement, but the emotional and psychological benefits of being outdoors in nature. It's game changing.
It's so nice to just go for a walk. And I feel like when I look back on it now, like I get a better sense of relaxation from that than I ever did from drinking.
Living your life with a sense of awe, I think.
Yeah.
It sounds like way more than you had let yourself do before.
I definitely see more things than I ever saw before. Just like stopping in the moment and just being like, wow, I had never noticed these things. Like I remember, after a couple months of sobriety, remembering things that I had never remembered, like early childhood memories just like popping up, like, oh my gosh. And then like words that I didn't remember that I knew, like all of a sudden I was using words that I hadn't used in years. Like, what is alcohol doing to us? Like, it really is just taking over our lives. And now being 18 months sober, I can see other people struggle. Before we started this podcast, you had mentioned, do you ever notice little bottles of alcohol on the sidewalk
Empty
or on the side of the road? Like somebody has a problem and they drank it and threw it out the window because they can't keep it in their car, or they can't go home and throw it away in the trash can there. And it's just like, yes. I was like, yes. Oh my gosh. I notice that too now, because you just see people's struggles. I also notice people that I used to drink with 18 months ago that I've seen, they don't look good. They don't look good at all. And one of the first things that I noticed about myself physically when I stopped drinking was the whites in my eyes. I never saw them before. Like all of a sudden I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, my eyes are so white. Like they were yellow and pink before, but like my body was just thanking me in all kinds of ways. Like literally every single way that your body can thank you, it thanks you. Your brain clarity, physical, like all the things. It's just, if you're listening to this and you're on the fence, please just do it. Please just try. Please just give it. I mean, you're wanting to, so there's something that's making you think about it. Like I said, it's the greatest gift you could give yourself. It's the best gift I ever gave myself. I'm getting a college degree. Thank you. And I've saved so much money. Can we talk about that part too? Like now we go out to eat and it's like under $100 for my husband and I. I'm just like, this is wild.
Because he also...
Yeah. So my husband stopped drinking the day after I did. He needed a hair of the dog that day, which I'm okay with because now we each have our own sober birthdays. He's just not as open to talking about it publicly as I am. But yes, we are both sober and it's been wonderful. I don't know that I could, if I could do this with a person drinking in the house every night. I don't know. I was very, very lucky that my husband decided to do this as well. So, and we had to relearn things because we would hang out at home drinking or in a bar drinking. It's different. It's really different.
It changes the relationship. It changes the dynamics. The level of depth of what you're talking about.
Yeah. You go on vacations and you're not day drinking all day. Like it really does change everything, but it makes it better.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't agree more. I'm so grateful for your generosity in so many ways. You give back so much to the community through the shop, through Fleurty Girl. I think this is a whole nother level though, giving back in this way, sharing such a personal journey. It's so impactful for people they're listening, they're going through it. They've started to take that first step, or they're even thinking, do I take that first step? And so you're such a positive and public face. And to use that platform for this, to give us this peek behind the curtain, I'm incredibly grateful. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. Like I said, I get super excited about it and I love to talk about it. So you're going to have to turn off this microphone in a minute because I'm going to keep on going.
So y'all, I'm going to post, as I said, if you aren't already following, we'll post your personal Instagram if you're okay with that. Mm-hmm. And we'll post Fleurty Girls. And, like Lauren said, she's here to support. So if you're listening and you heard her say it, if you want to DM and you've got, something that's weighing on you, or you kind of need those little words of encouragement, she's there. We're here, our Eat Fit team with Alcohol Free for 40. There's Dry January happening right now. So there's a lot of resources. And so we'll post a lot of those in the show notes here. So thank you so much, Lauren.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so grateful to Lauren for taking the time to join us for this Raw Truth episode of Fueled Wellness and Nutrition. I've always been impressed with how she's built a brand and what she's created with the Fleurty Girl brand. And the more I learn about her resolve and her focus and her determination in so many aspects of her life, including overcoming alcohol addiction, it's heartwarming, it's impressive, it's all of these words. I'm really grateful that she's sharing her story. She's such a role model in a business sense and an entrepreneur sense and a marketing sense. and the fact that she has had some of the very struggles that so many of us have, and she's willing to be so free with talking about it and sharing about it. I just think it's such a beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Lauren, for this. We'll include the links that we've talked about in the show notes of this episode. And always let me know what you think. If this is something that has touched you, has impacted you, if it's sort of had you think about maybe alcohol in a little bit different way, reach out to us, reach out to me, let me know. I always want to hear about it. I am registered dietitian Molly Kimball, and you've been listening to Fueled Wellness and Nutrition, the podcast. If you'd like more Fueled Wellness and Nutrition, please head over to mollykimball.com, and you can follow me, Molly Kimball RD, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you haven't yet, please go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Join us next time for another dose of Fueled Wellness and Nutrition. Thanks for listening, and stay focused on living your strongest, healthiest life.